Yeah, Malcolm Harbour. I'm a member of the European Parliament for the West Midlands, and I'm chairman of the European Parliament's Consumer Protection and Internal Market Committee. Well, the tyre label was introduced as part of a big package of safety measures for passenger cars and commercial vehicles. So it has to be seen in part of a general drive to improve safety overall. But I think in particular because tyres are playing such an important role now, not just in the safety of cars, but also in environmental performance. So this is a whole new dimension that we've seen coming forward. And therefore consumers need more knowledge about environmental performance and about safety performance as well. And I think that tyres in particular are things that are probably more difficult for consumers to buy. But therefore they need much clearer and impartial information. And this is where I think public authorities can set a clear set of measurement standards which everyone will abide to, so you can judge the tyre entirely on its performance. Well, the process of introduction is that it was included in part of the European General Safety Regulation. Therefore it will apply across the European Union as part of a single market. It will be a common set of standards. And it means that consumers will not only have the information imprinted on the tyre, but also they are obliged to be given that paper information. In other words, they need to be informed about that when they're making the purchase of the tyre. Because otherwise, how do they get the information? They won't necessarily go around looking at all the tyres and looking at the information. They actually need to be given that information before they make the purchase. Well, as with any detailed technical regulation that goes through the European institutions, everybody was widely consulted. I mean, the tyre manufacturers in particular were deeply involved in discussions both with the Commission, who had the ideas, in discussions and negotiations with us in the European Parliament. Because obviously this is a highly technical set of standards, so they had to clearly agree on the testing methods, the testing processes, how they'd be carrying out, and also we consulted about the design of the labelling and so on. There's a balance of factors that tyre engineers are always trying to move forward on. To make the tyre safe, particularly in areas of wet road grip, but also to make the tyre low rolling resistance as well. And there's an engineering trade-off. I mean, I'm a trained automotive engineer. That was my career before I became a politician. But I think we need to give people that information. Because if you just gave people environmental information, they wouldn't necessarily see the trade-off. So somebody might offer a tyre that was very low rolling resistance, but the wet road grip was really not as good as it should be. And I think consumers are looking for that balance between the two. And that's going to be crucially important in future. Well, it's all part of creating a single market for consumers. On the one hand, then we have a common set of standards. So then tyres that are imported, tyres that are made in the European Union have to be labelled and comply to the same standard. So we actually have created one set of standards. So empowering consumers by giving them clearly and well presented information on some of the complex technical factors relating to what they buy is increasingly important. You can only give consumers, I think, a certain amount of information. You absolutely don't want to overload them. There have been some very interesting studies that we look at about the amount of information that consumers are given when they're buying quite complex products or services. So therefore I think we focused on clear criteria that enable consumers to make an informed choice.